Good evening and welcome to this Talking Tuesday edition of Palmetto Sports Daily. Rick Henry with you here in the capital city, Columbia. Joined today by Tegan Brown, Myrtle Beach, Kevin Bilodeau in Charleston, Carmine Jamay in Greenville. We got a full house, and we'll start it off with Gamecock football. Disappointing performance for the Gamecocks on Saturday, losing to Oklahoma 26-7. The offensive line continued to struggle. They managed only 54 yards rushing. Lenore Sellers was sacked 6 times, so just not a good showing. And obviously, after the game, head coach Shane Beamer, he was frustrated, snapped at a reporter asking question about is he contemplating any changes and what gives him hope going forward. Well, today during his press conference, Shane Beamer addressed some of the noise that's out there. In the first quarter, the student section mainly, they were chanting, "Fire Shula," the offensive coordinator, people not pleased with the play calling. And here's Shane on how he approaches the noise aspect, the outside noise, and he issued up some apologies. Let's hear from the coach.
I understand there's noise out there, and there should be. I'm not happy with where we are right now, and I'm going to get it fixed because we got great young men in this program, and as the leader and as the head coach of this program, I realize that I'm letting a lot of people down right now with the way that we're playing. Our players that I feel like I'm letting down, our coaches, our players' families, our coaches' families, the student body, the 80,000 people that pack Williams-Brice Stadium every Saturday, the state of South Carolina, from Charleston to Myrtle Beach to the upstate to the Midlands. There's a lot of people that live and die with Gamecock football on Saturdays, and I get it. They're not happy, and neither am I. And I take that personally because I truly feel like I'm letting a lot of people down right now.
And it doesn't get any better for the Gamecocks on Saturday. They're hosting an Alabama team that seems to really be playing their best football. Forget about that opening season loss to Florida State. Alabama is looking like Alabama. Also, it's homecoming for USC. So, I don't know who's responsible for scheduling the Crimson Tide for the homecoming game, but it's a very poor choice. Carmine?
Yeah, I like how Shane Beamer's taking accountability there. That's a good place to begin, but I mean, there's really no other choice with how the Gamecocks have played so far this season. Do you think that offensive coordinator Mike Shula, Rick, is really, the lightning rod that should be taking the most blame here, or where do you land on that?
Well, you look at the play calling and the times they were on the goal line, in the red zone. Like their best drive of the day was when Faison ripped off a 36-yard run down to the Oklahoma 9-yard line, and they didn't get a touchdown. They decided to go for it on 4th and down. They couldn't run the football at all, and then when they wanted to pass, the Oklahoma defense was in Lenore Sellers' face. He had to run for it, got stopped on the 3. And then on their one touchdown drive, again, they're trying to run up the middle. A lot of discontentment among the fans. And he's the guy calling the plays. They showed some creativity on their first drive, and then for the rest of the game, it was pretty much the same thing over and over. Kevin?
Yeah, I was out shooting the Citadel game Saturday afternoon, so I haven't gone back and watched this Carolina game, mostly because I don't hate myself that much. But, I like that, like Carmine said, I like that Shane Beamer is saying the right things in these pressers. We've seen when fans go after assistant coaches sometimes, like the fans did against, chanting to fire Mike Shula. We've seen the head coach go out and attack the fans at some point, and I'm glad that Shane Beamer didn't do that because he realizes this isn't good and something has to change. Now, the question just is, what do they have to do? I don't think there's someone on the staff who, if you fired Mike Shula today, would have things turn around by the time they play Alabama or even by the time they play Texas A&M in a couple of weeks. So I don't think there's a solution, and it's not like you're just going to bring in Billy Napier after getting fired at Florida and just hand him the offense tomorrow and everything's going to be turned around by the time they take the field against Alabama either. So, the frustration is understandable. It's like Beamer said, he's frustrated as well. I just don't see a solution that they're going to have this year to turn things around, Tegan.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how the last few years they've really turned around this in the second half of the season. But I don't see that happening this year either. After I didn't get the chance to watch it either. I was out at App State with Coastal. But as I was tweeting about Coastal, I had a lot of people commenting about South Carolina, saying Coastal Carolina didn't seem as much of a winnable game and as a cupcake as they thought it would be in the beginning of the season. So I don't think firing Mike Shula is the answer. I don't like you said, Kevin. I don't really think if we get rid of anybody on this staff that there's going to be somebody right there who can step up and immediately turn this ship around, especially with these SEC games that they still have to play, Rick.
Well, Shane said today, hey, no one's coming to save them. They are who they are right now, and they've just got to band together and try to get with it. But you're right, if they got rid of Mike Shula, you're not going to change the offense. You're still left with the same players, with the same problems that you have on the offensive line, with injuries. They're trying to, get five guys operating as one, and it's been a struggle. They may be able to improve, but you look at that schedule: Alabama, Ole Miss, at Texas A&M. And an improving Coastal Carolina team that beats App State. A few years ago, South Carolina lost to App State here at Williams-Brice Stadium. So you look at their 5 remaining games, there's not one you can say, hey, they've got this one. So it's going to be a tough stretch. Carmine?
Yeah, and speaking of tough stretches, guys, that's also what Clemson is in the middle of, partially because the offensive line has been underperforming when you have so much talent, size, and depth coming back, and you just can't run the ball at all. I think Adam Randall ran the ball for 10 attempts for 27 yards in the loss against SMU, 35-24 on Saturday. And an unfortunate loss for the Tigers was Colin Sadler, an Inman native from here in the upstate, Greenville High School graduate, and he went off, carted off the field, and got really great support. It was nice to see from about 25 teammates as he left the field. But let's roll some of this video from the breast cancer awareness game here. Everyone in their pink, which was a nice silver lining and a great cause, obviously, to what turned out to be a very difficult game. But Dabo saying in his weekly Zoom press conference, he didn't appear as he usually does on Talking Tuesday because of the bye week, but last night did give an update on Sadler, said they thought it was more serious than it turned out to be, and anticipate he'll continue to improve each day. Another concerning injury was to the leading wide receiver on the team, Bryant Wesco Jr., who came into this leading the ACC with 6 touchdown receptions. Scary moment for him, landing on his head and neck during a kick return, and they called it a back injury, which is what Dabo said. He said their prayers were answered, that it was a blessing, best case scenario, very scary injury. Doctors did an amazing job on Wesco, and said there were a lot of unknowns in the first 24 hours, but he's out of the hospital, which is where he went immediately after the Clemson game, went to the hospital, but he's back home, so that's great news. Unfortunately, though, he will miss the entire rest of the season. So doctors are confident he'll make a recovery, but this will keep Wesco out for the rest of the season. So sad news there for such a promising, sensational sophomore wide receiver for Clemson, and what a disappointing season and a disappointing injury, much more serious than the season as well. But Cade Klubnik is somebody for Clemson who Dabo said he expects to see back, hopefully for the Duke game. He doesn't want to guarantee anything, of course, but Cade, nursing that ankle sprain that he suffered in the Boston College game, sat out for SMU, which was the first time in 35 games that Cade Klubnik had not been the starting quarterback for Clemson. Christopher Vizina came in and played really well, the redshirt sophomore for Clemson, and he threw for 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. Shaky first half, but he got it together in the second half, getting more comfortable, settling in, completing 29 of his 42 passes. And here's Vizina on the conversation of if Cade can't go against Duke in 2 weeks, what is his mindset? How is he playing that? And then the confidence he got from a somewhat successful, despite not getting the win, first start in a Tigers uniform.
Just the same mentality as last week and the week before. It's, there's always a chance of me playing, so I have to prepare like I'm going to play. And that's how it's going to be this week and next week and every single week after. It doesn't matter if they tell me I'm playing or I'm not playing, like I'm going to prepare to play. So
you get some confidence, though, just from going out there throwing 300-plus yards and kind of showing people.
Yeah. because that's what I've kind of been waiting on, that, just the opportunity to get in there and all the things. I mean, I do it at practice all the time, but you get out there and, you don't know if you're going to get to play on Saturday. That sucks sometimes. But to know I went out there and, played as hard as I could, and we had some good things happen, there's definitely walking away with some confidence.
And good to see that for CV there, being thrown into a difficult situation during a difficult season, but holding up. He was definitely not the reason Clemson lost this game, gave him a chance to win, even converted a 4th and 20 on a free play. There was an offsides, a flag was thrown, and CV looked like Aaron Rodgers lobbing it up, taking advantage of the free play to Tristan Smith for a touchdown. So that defense really needs to start improving if they're going to even make a bowl game this season. And another disappointing loss to drop the Tigers to 3-4. But hey, Kevin, there's a Charleston Southern team that could be trying to start a win streak. I don't know when the last time you could say that was, but I think it was quite a while.
It feels like it has been a while, and it's odd that the upbeat part of this block is not Clemson or South Carolina, but it's Charleston Southern coming off a win last week against Western Illinois. Now they return home this weekend to play Eastern Illinois, as Charleston Southern just looking to dominate the Prairie State with another victory this week. And head coach Gabe Gardenia talking today about what it's like to finally have some momentum, having won 2 out of their last 3 and looking to keep things rolling at home this weekend.
We really challenged our guys to play with heart and have faith all week, and to kind of refresh their minds in that the last 5 weeks of this season are a new season. And I was really pleased. We scored in every quarter. Zoltan threw 4 touchdown passes as conference player of the week. Jamil Bishop, who's been battling through injury, just kind of a great small picture, I think, of the character of our team.
Bucks taking on Eastern Illinois Saturday at 2 o'clock over at CSU Field. We've got more coming up here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back here to Palmetto Sports Daily, and adding on to what Kevin said about Charleston Southern being a bright spot, how about these Carolina Panthers? 3 wins in a row for the first time since Bryce Young and Dave Canales took over the reins as quarterback and head coach of this team, and they're going for 4 wins in a row, if you can believe that, hosting the what we thought were Super Bowl contenders Buffalo Bills up in Tegan's neck of the woods. But now who really knows what the Bills are made of? So we'll see back at Bank of America Stadium, where the Panthers are undefeated this year. So the good times keep rolling. The only bad thing, quarterback Bryce Young suffering an injury. And so his status is up in the air for that Bills game. Andy Dalton, of course, would fill in just like he did in the end of a pretty ugly Jets win, 13-3, or 13-6 actually it turned out to be. But here's Dave Canales just yesterday talking about the status of his quarterback, who's led this team to a very impressive, especially for them, record of 4-3 on the season.
We're going to go day to day on that right now, and just really look at him each day. Just test the ankle in different ways to see if we can't get him back out there on Wednesday in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to just take it that way. And he's saw him this morning, talked to him, and he's like, let's push this thing, let's see what we got, And so we're gonna try to take that approach with it and just go from there.
And don't look now, but the Carolina Panthers are pushing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the division lead in the NFC South. The Bucs are 5-2. The Panthers are 4-3. And Kevin, I guess we're going to have to eat our words a little bit on the Panthers season so far.
So far, yeah. And the thing I'm curious about this week is you heard him say Bryce Young wants to push it this week to get him back into the contest against Buffalo. I'm not sure if you want to push him this week. I mean, you've got Andy Dalton, who, for all intents and purposes, might be the best backup quarterback in the league. There's definitely an argument to make about that. I don't know if I'd want to put a Bryce Young in who's 60-75% healthy against a Buffalo defense that could really give him some problems. Why not just let Dalton stay back there and fling the ball around and let Bryce get healthy for a week and get him ready to take on Green Bay a couple weeks after that, Rick?
Yeah, what a weird season to actually look at the standings and see that the Carolina Panthers, They're just one game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if the Panthers can pull out a win this weekend, then they would have 5 wins, equaling their total of all of last season at the halfway point of this year. But, yeah, no need for Bryce to rush it. You know, he's not that big a guy. He could get even more banged up, and he got a lot of football left. So if he's not ready, don't play him. Let Andy Dalton take over and give Bryce as much time as he needs to recover. Tegan.
Yeah, I'll have to go back to the episode where we were talking about our benchmark for wins we think they're going to get this season. I want to say my number was 4 or 5. We're pretty much there right now. I didn't expect it at that point. I don't think any of us really did. But yeah, if we're talking about playing Bryce Young, let him rest, let him heal, because if we do want the Panthers to continue to advance from here, based off of what they've done so far, I think Andy Dalton is their best choice next week. Plus, yeah, that Bills defense will probably tear him up if he's only at 60, 70% out there. We're going to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We're moving to the high school ranks where the boys volleyball playoffs kicking off tonight. And look, I've talked about this at length in the past. I will talk about it at length in the future. I have a whole segment I'm ready to talk about once the football playoffs come and how we need to eliminate one round. I've got charts and graphs that are all ready to go for a couple of weeks from now. But I just couldn't let this go after I saw these matchups for the first round of the boys volleyball playoffs, specifically in 4A, where Oceanside Collegiate, they're the number 1 seed in the lower state in the 4A brackets. They've put together a great season. I think there's something like 19-3, totally well-deserved 1 seed. And they have an opening round matchup tonight against Airport, who is the number 12 seed. And guys, let me put it to you this way. Tegan, if I told you the over-under for wins that the Airport boys volleyball team has this year is at 0.5, would you take the over or the under on that?
Oh my gosh, I'm taking the under. Yeah.
Well, it's actually over because I'm not that much of a jerk, but it's only 1. Their record this year is 1-20. Okay? 1-20 is their record, and they are in the playoffs.
Wow.
A team they played 21 games, they won 1. All right? Here I go. Listen, this isn't just about the kids. This is about everyone involved. You're making a team drive 2 hours from Airport to Mount Pleasant to play a game where they're going to get obliterated by Oceanside, okay? Then they have to drive 2 hours back after that and just sit with that they're going to lose in 3 straight sets, a matchup that's probably going to take about 45 minutes. By the time this show airs for the first time tonight, this match will be over, and it starts at 6:30, the same time as our show starts. So this match will be over by the time you're seeing this rant, most likely. And it's insane. There is no reason to do that. Think about the parents as well for these Airport kids. They've got to get out of work early for a game that starts at 6:30 to drive 2 hours to see their kids get obliterated by this Oceanside team and then drive home and say, hey, good job, guys. Way to put out the effort. There's no need to put the kids through this. There's no need to. Nobody's making money on this. We've talked about money as a reason to do this. How much money is Oceanside or anyone going to make off this? You're going to have 40 paying parents go in at $5 a piece. So you're going to make maybe $200 to $250, which is going to have to go towards the referees, the gas for the bus to get there, and the scorekeeper and everyone. Nobody's making money on this. We're all just wasting our time. Take out a round of the playoffs in every sport. This has to go around for every sport. There, I'm done. Go ahead, Carmine.
I could not agree more with you, Kevin. And you made great points for the restructuring of several of the high school sports now, with the same underlying thing of it's a waste of time for the parents, the kids. It's a morale depleter to go that far, get your butt kicked extremely quickly, and go back. If only the airport was open to fly these kids back, that would be a little more convenient. Unfortunately, they'll have to drive that full distance. Couldn't agree with you more. And hopefully somebody's listening. Hopefully there can be some reform and maybe just a consolation bracket where you take these teams with fewer than 5 wins and, hey, you want to play in a postseason? Well, play against some equal competition, have some fun, have a pizza party, and not get your butt kicked and get sent back on your way. But hopefully the Charlotte Hornets don't get their tails kicked in their season opener. We're talking Hornets Hoops, which airs right here on Palmetto Sports and Entertainment right after this. Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily, and some exciting news to announce is the fact that right here on Palmetto Sports and Entertainment Network, we are airing Game 1 of the season on Wednesday at 7 p.m. of the Charlotte Hornets, yet another one of our partners all across the southern region. And the Charlotte Hornets are expected to improve on what was a really difficult season last year, only 19 wins. In fact, they went the entire month of December without a single win, and the month of March only had 1 win. So lots of losing streaks in there, but we're a little bit more optimistic, and so are the betting websites. They have the Hornets improving on last season's 19 wins. They have them right about 26, 27 wins expected, and maybe they could exceed that, but a very young team. Some exciting rookies, Kevin, that we're looking forward to seeing some of tomorrow.
Yeah, Con Knippel, who was the 4th pick out of Duke. We saw him play at the exhibition opener a couple of weeks ago here in Charleston against Oklahoma City, the defending NBA champs, even though none of the good players were here, as I mentioned. So he's a good pick. Ryan Kalkbrenner, big guy, 7'1", 256 pounds. Another guy who's going to take up a lot of space. And I really like the addition of Colin Sexton from Utah, the 6'3" guard, a guy who can either start or come off the bench and really provide some instant offense for this team going forward, Tegan.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see the games on Palmetto Sports and Entertainment, and you can always check out those. I'm sure we'll be talking about them throughout the season, but that's going to be all we'll have for today on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back tomorrow, though, with plenty more.